Hello everyone, so we're going to continue with the features of ArchivesSpace. Now at the end of my last video I neglected to show you saving the record, which is of course a very important thing, so I'm just going to quickly show you that while showing you some other things. So here we have some records that are already created. So this is the accession record we created in the last video. So I'm going to go in and edit it by pressing edit. And I'm going to just add one little thing there so it realizes there are unsaved changes. Then I am going to hit save. And then it will tell you that the fuzzy cat collection was updated. Now if you want to look at your list of all your accessions, you'd come over here and there's the fuzzy cat collection showing when it was created, when it was modified, etc. So there's that, and what we're going to talk about now is the creation of resources. So this is what you use to enter your finding aid. To enter your finding aid in a way that is similar to the structure of EAD, encoded archival description, because ArchivesSpace can import EAD or export your records as EAD. So when you're creating your finding aid records, you're going to be creating them with the levels that you would be using if you use EAD. Now, I do apologize to those of you who aren't archivists and haven't used EAD. What I just said probably didn't make a whole lot of sense, but explaining EAD is a bit outside the scope of this tutorial. So look up EAD, it's a really cool system, but this is a lot easier than having to code in XML. So I'm going to show you how you can create the different levels of records in your finding aid. So here I've already started a record for the fuzzy cat collection. If I wanted to create a new one, I'd go over here and go to create resource, but instead I'm going to show you editing it. So we go to edit, and up here we have a little diagram that demonstrates the different levels within the collection. So we've got the collection level description, then we've got series level descriptions, and so the collection level description is pretty similar to what we were entering in the accession record. Mostly the same stuff. We'll enter the basic information, the dates, the extents. Here we'd enter some more information about the finding aid. So we'd enter information about the EAD ID, the location, the title of the finding aid, its subtitle if it has one, filing title if it has one, date, author, description rules, so what rules we used for it. So here in the US we use DAX, so we'd select that one. This description is in English. If there was a sponsor of the finding aid, we would write that there. So if someone had donated money or if a grant had funded it, we'd put it there. And we'd add notes about the edition of the finding aid, notes about the series, the status of the finding aid. So if this was a complete finding aid, we'd mark it completed, or we could mark it in progress, under revision, or an unprocessed collection. So I'm going to call this an in-process finding aid. And then this is all very similar stuff to what we went over in the last one, so I'm not going to go over it again because it's the same sort of fields. Instead, what we're going to talk about is the levels that I was talking about before. So we've got the collection level, so the collection is called the fuzzy cat collection. Then within that we have the smaller groups of records called series. As you can see, I've already added 2 records. Sorry, it's prompting me to save at this level before moving on to the next one. Wise of it. So here we have a series about cat pictures. So here we'd enter all the information about the cat pictures that we have in the collection. So thus far we have a series cat pictures and a series cat toys. If we wanted to add another one, we could do that in a couple of ways. So if we're up at the top collection level, we click Add Child to add another one, because archival description works on a parent and child basis. Each item will have items that branch out from them, and those are called children. If items are at the same level, they're called siblings. So I will show siblings in just a moment. So if we're creating this new series that we're going to call cat blankets, because who wouldn't need to save a whole bunch of fuzzy blankets, right? So cat blankets is the series, and this is a series level description, and we're going to add a creation date, and that's going to be inclusive. And we're going to add that. So this is all the same sort of information we added in the accession record, so I'm again not going to go over all of it, but I just typed in a little so you can see how it goes, and then we're going to save it. And as you can see, that includes a new series name that includes both the title and the date. I didn't actually put dates on my other series, so that's why those don't have dates. Now let's say we want to add another series, so another thing at that level of description. If we're in this area, we can click Add Sibling, and we're going to create another series entitled Cat Drawings. I'm not making it clear whether this is drawings made by cats or drawings of cats. We'll leave that intentionally ambiguous for now, because that's amusing. So I'm just going to include that information there, and as you can see, another series has been created. Okay, so let's say we want to include a further division within the series Cat Pictures. So we're going to make another archival object, and this we are going to call a sub-series level, and I'm going to call this Kitten Pictures. So that is a further division within the series. Now if we wanted to divide that even further, we could use the file or fonts level. I'm going to use the file level. File is a more common term in the US. Fonts is a more common term in the rest of the world. So a sub-series, a file within Kitten Pictures. Let's see, what shall I call it? Sandcats Kitten Pictures, how about? And we're going to save that. And then if we wanted to divide that even further, we could add yet another child item, and we could have it at the item level. So if I wanted to describe just a single picture, very few archives have the resources to go to the item level, but sometimes we do, so I might as well show adding an item level. So in here we will say picture of Sandcat and her mother, and save that. So as you can see, we have descriptions at quite a number of different levels, and what I just did here was make this box larger so I could see the whole diagram of the levels. This diagram is really handy because it shows you where in the description you are, and if you've ever coded in EAD, it can be kind of easy to lose track of the descriptions unless you're using a good editor such as Oxygen that shows you where you are. This shows you where you are very clearly and visually, and I think it's super helpful. We have created this resource, this multi-level finding aid, we are going to close the record, so we'll hit this close record button up here. We've saved each component as we've made it, so we don't need to hit the save button again. So close record. And then it brings us to this page that shows us all the resources we've created, and it shows us them in a similar format to what we were just looking at, a multi-level display. So that is how you create resources, otherwise known as multi-level finding aids, in ArchivesSpace.